This is Behind the Mic with AudioFile magazine. I'm Joe Reed. Alan Minskoff has been with me for the week. Hello, Alan. How are you ending the week for us?
Well, this was the longest listen I've done all summer. It is the well-known American novel from the 1920s, An American Tragedy by Theodore Dreiser, and it's read by Grover Gardner.
Grover Gardner, golden voice, amazing narrator, Grover Gardner.
I'm glad you said that because he's at the height of his talent in this one. It's very long. It's sort of one of the classic novels of American history, and it puts you dramatically in that moment. But I want to make one point about Grover Gardner, and this is how after I finished listening to it, I just wanted to make sure that in my review I could capture something he does so well. I'm just going to read this. A moment occurs toward the end of this classic tale of crime and punishment when Grover Gardner does the voices of men on death row. Some sound resigned, others complain, one moans, and the emulation of misery is palpable and demonstrates Gardner's subtle brilliance as narrator.
Yeah, he is an amazing narrator and a very generous one too.
These people, he just gets it. I mean, that's not easy to do, going from one to the other and the really sad one. I mean, I had to kind of like stop and say, that is a moment. And I will never forget it listening to this audiobook. And this is sort of one of the classic naturalistic novels. It's written in the mid 1920s, actually set about 10 years before that.
And how long is it? It's long.
It's 40 hours.
That is a long book, and it is a hard book. I mean, this book depressed the hell out of me when I read it years ago. It is so hard.
But it does have its moments. And, as a naturalistic writer, I did appreciate his description of like the shirt collar factory and the prison and life in
Yes,
Kansas City. And you get a real feeling for the moment. So
it's very dark.
it's a dark book, but I mean, we can also benefit from dark books. But he
Oh, yeah,
does.
I'm not saying we can. I'm not saying that's a reason not to read it. I'm just or listen to it. I'm just saying it's a fact. Dreiser notices everything and shares that with us.
He's a naturalistic writer, which is 20th century, late 19th, 20th century. But he has those very long descriptions and long sentences, kind of like 19th century writers. So that's exactly right.
Right. And Grover is able to really do that well because our ear has changed since then. So I can imagine it's not an easy book to narrate.
Oh, I think he is surpassingly good at it. It's a tough, but I was mesmerized by it, and I'll tell you why. I think on the page, because I remember reading it in college, and I was a grinder in college, and I read the whole thing because I love to be in fiction. But this is, if you want to dedicate the time, I really recommend this. And it got a earphones for a reason. This is one of those narrations, and there are a few where a great narrator can really rise the material.
Oh, he's so good. Let's listen to a little bit. Do you have to set this up?
This is the beginning.
Okay. This is An American Tragedy by Theodore Dreiser, and it's read by Grover Gardner.
Of a summer night, and the tall walls of the commercial heart of an American city of perhaps 400,000 inhabitants, such walls as in time may linger as a mere fable. And up the broad street, now comparatively hushed, a little band of six, a man of about 50, short, stout, with bushy hair protruding from under a round black felt hat, a most unimportant-looking person, who carried a small portable organ such as is customarily used by street preachers and singers.
He's so good. He is just so good. And, I think the range that Grover has is also remarkable because this is the same man who reads the Andy Carpenter mysteries, with the dogs in it.
And westerns and all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
just amazing. That is An American Tragedy by Theodore Dreiser, read by Grover Gardner. Alan, what a week you had.
Well, I think it ended on the highest note in terms of the narration. There were several that were really good, a couple that were good, but this is great.
Yeah. Alan, thanks. And I will talk to you next month.
As I like to say, I am looking forward to it.
Today's sponsor of Behind the Mic is Hachette Audio, the publisher of Connie, a witty memoir about legendary journalist Connie Chung's experience as the first Asian woman to break into the overwhelmingly white, male-dominated news industry. Read by Connie Chung herself. Behind the Mic is produced by Jessica Lockhart. Robin Witten, Michelle Cobb, Emily Connolly, Alan Minskoff, and Kendra Winchester are our contributors. Jennifer Dow is our editor, and the music is William Ross Chernoff's Nomads 4-Way. And I'm your host, Joe Reed. Good listening.